The film starts with a scene in 1995. After receiving a report of child abuse in the Yamada household, Mitsuko Yoshizaki, a Tokyo social worker and teacher, photographer Yamamoto, and a police officer, searched the house and discovered it in disarray. They enter the second-floor bedroom and discover the family's oldest child, Toshio Yamaga, bound in the closet. Toshio murders Yamamoto, while Yoshizaki and the police officer call for assistance. Kyosuke Takeda, a real estate agent, and his wife later sold the house. The Yamada house is said to be haunted, so his wife's little sister Aoi and her friends Rina, Yayoi, and sensitive Nanami go there. Nanami is terrified of ghosts and can sense the curse's presence in the house from outside. When the others enter the house, Nanami says she'll wait outside, but is dragged inside by Rina. Nanami investigates after hearing Toshio singing in the second-floor bedroom, while Yayoi discovers his drawings of their deaths, except Nanami. They laugh because they don't understand the drawings. When Toshio appears behind Nanami and notices blood on the floor and in the closet, she enters the second-floor bedroom and turns on the light. Toshio grabs her as she panics and attempts to flee. Nanami screams and dashes out the door to meet the others. They shrug and walk away. Nanami grabs her bag, takes one last look around the room, and flees the house in terror. Yayoi notices and hears Toshio moving in the backstage hall during basketball class. Toshio grabs her when she hears the piano alone. She rushes to a vacant infirmary and discovers a house drawing. Toshio appears in her bed and murders her by dragging her beneath the sheets. Nanami and Aoi go to see Rina, who is panicking and talking about a white boy. When Toshio enters the room, he has an effect on it. Nanami tells Aoi they must go. They flee the house in terror after Aoi bestows a protective charm on Rina. Rina begins to make tea and takes milk from the refrigerator. When she pours milk into a cup, it turns to blood. When the teapot heats up, the lid bursts. The steam has burned Rina's face. Toshio opens the fridge, grabs Rina from behind, and then closes the door on her. Aoi tells her sister about the house, but her sister refuses to discuss it, and Kyosuke is concerned that Aoi will visit the house. Aoi inquires about Rina and Yayoi in the bathroom mirror. Toshio can be seen in the mirror. He grabs Aoi's lower jaw and rips it off in the shower, killing her. When Aoi's sister hears her scream, she rushes to the bathroom, finds her jaw, and collapses in terror. The ghosts of Aoi and Rina appear on a train near Nanami. She screams in terror as they turn around. She falls to the floor and tries to flee, but the Yamada family apprehends her after seeing Yayoi's ghost in the ceiling. She drops her bag on the stairwell before being slammed against the walls, dragged away, and murdered. Following that, Aoi's sister takes two potential buyers, Takio and Kayako Saki, on a tour of the house. Aoi's sister notices Nanami's bag on the stairs after they agree to buy the house. The curse also kills Aoi's sister. Kayako became pregnant after Toshio entered her body. After discovering the truth, Takeo murders Kayako, Toshio, and Ma before succumbing to the curse. Ikuno Shaoni Yui works in an elementary school with the headmaster Inui and the homeroom teacher for class 3-3, Konishi. Naoto, Yui's boyfriend, is a filmmaker. Toshio dropped out of school after becoming Konishi's student. Konishi was concerned and went to see him. When Konishi arrived, Kayako was at the Saki house. Konishi couldn't meet Toshio because he was resting, she explained. Konishi eventually returned to the Saki residence. He returns to the Saki household and is cursed. In his diary at school, he draws spirals. He quits his job and dies trying to escape the curse. Inui informs Yui that Konishi quit his job after learning of his father's death from his family. Yui is eager to get to work. She goes outside and dials Naoto's number. He congratulates her and suggests they celebrate. Following her summons, Yui notices an ominous spiral in the courtyard. She enters and looks around, perplexed. At their apartment, Yui and Naoto celebrate Yu's assignment and discuss Naoto's film. Yui is concerned when she notices Toshio's absence on her first day. According to Konishi's notes, Toshio has been missing for a long time. She comes to see him. Yui notices Toshio's pale arm dangling from the upper window of the Seki residence. Kayako greets her as she walks into the house. Toshio starts singing upstairs and Yui follows. She walks into his room and discovers a duct-taped closet. Yui takes off the tape to reveal an empty closet. Kayako appears behind her, startling her. Yui claims she only desired Toshio's room. Kayako informs her that it is not Toshio's room, offers her tea, and proceeds downstairs. Yui follows her downstairs and notices that the teacups are empty. In her diary, Kayako draws spirals and sings Toshio's song. Yui asks her if she's okay after hearing her singing, but she doesn't respond. Yui approaches her and notices Kayako eerily staring at her and rattling her diary. Yui runs out of the house, closing the door behind her. Yui returns to school and informs Inui that something was wrong with that woman. Inui tells her that Konishi died mysteriously. Yui continues to read Konishi's diary. In his final note, he stated that he would return to the Seki household. She then notices that the following pages are spiraled. Yui, like Konishi, returns home cursed. The next day, Yu notices a dejected Toshio in her class. While scratching spirals on his desk, he sings. When Yui asks him to stop, he ignores her. She calls and grabs him, but he vanishes and she realizes she is the only one who sees him. Later that night, Yui draws spirals on students' exam papers. After that, Kayako and Toshio haunted her. After seeing Kayako outside the office, she follows her to the classroom. She finds her diary and reads it briefly before Kayako appears behind her and possesses her. When ghosts haunt him and he hears mewing, Naoto works from home. Ma enters the microwave and turns it on before leaving. When Naoto opens the microwave, it is empty. He steps out of the apartment for a few moments. When he's gone, Yui stands by the window. Naoto returns and recognizes her. She passes out after drawing a spiral on the window. He brings her to bed. Out of concern for Yui, Naoto reads Kayako's diary from her bag. Kayako appears behind him and then in front of him while he reads. Naoto screams in the diary when he sees Kayako's eye. Naoto walks out of the apartment. Yui awakens and showers while singing Toshio's song. She falls asleep again after taking a shower. When Kyosuke visits the Seki house, he tells Naoto about the curse, Toshio's first death, and the fate of Aoi and her sister. Naoto reads about Toshio's first death in the library. Naoto returns to the apartment and examines Yui, discovering something beneath her blanket. He removes the blanket and finds nothing. Naoto realizes that Toshio Yamaga and Seki are the same person. Kayako grabs his head from behind and slowly turns it backwards. He is killed when her neck snaps. Yui awakens from her enslavement. She enters the room, finds Naoto, and screams in horror, pain, and anguish before breaking down in tears. Yui went to school the next day and stood by a window in her classroom, thinking about everything that had happened and mourning Naoto. She turns around, looks at Toshio's desk, and resolves to exact revenge and end the curse. She returns to the Seki residence, enters Toshio's room, opens the closet, and discovers a box containing the family album and home videos. She examines the album and notices that Toshio's face has been scratched. She watches the videos and discovers one more tape in an envelope. She watches the tape and discovers that Toshio, not Takeo, conceived Kayako. Toshio's face appears on the screen, frightening her. Yui notices Kayako and Takeo's sudden appearance. Kayako told Takeo that Toshio was not his son and burst out laughing. Yui witnesses Takeo grabbing her and breaking her neck, leaving Toshio's pet cat, Ma, to die in the microwave, and attempting to murder the boy only to be attacked and killed himself. They then vanish. Yui enters the attic and encounters Kayako, who wakes up and crawls toward her. Yui runs downstairs and falls down the stairs like Nanami did years ago. Toshio looks down at her and addresses her as teacher once more. Yui begs for his assistance from below. He ignores her and continues to wait for Kayako. Yui examines the stairwell, but does not notice Kayako. When she looks at him again, he's still looking up. Kayako appears on the ceiling, and she hears a death rattle. Toshio appears behind Yui, grabs her stomach, and addresses her as mother as Kayako drives her upstairs. She screams and flees. Yui awakens in her bed as the two ghosts surround her. Naoto's voice makes her believe it was all a nightmare. Yui walks into the room and hears a death rattle. When she turns around, she sees Naoto, possessed by Kayako, rattling and walking toward her, his head still snapped. Toshio appears behind her on the table and stares at her. As the film ends, Yui looks at Naoto and sobs.